Let me start with Luka and Slovenia. Would that have been a more interesting matchup for Team USA to watch than France?
I mean, I don't think so. I think this is going to be an interesting matchup for one reason and one reason only. Greg Popovich, coach team, has not beaten this team. They lost to him before, prior to the Olympics, and then they lost to him the first match here. So I think it's a bad taste in their mouth. Ever since that loss and the days in between that loss and their next game versus Iran, all they heard about is Popovich the right coach? Is this the right team? Do they have the right nucleus of players? When is KD going to show up? Well, we saw KD show up. We saw their defense take off, and they're playing great basketball. Now, don't get me wrong. I think Luka and his squad, and Popelovic, the guy who got a shot block at the end, I think that would have been a very interesting matchup. And obviously, what Luka has done all tournament. But I think for the U.S., they wanted a piece of France again to kind of get that taste out of their mouth.
What's the difference in how a game is called in the Olympics as opposed to the NBA?
Rules, first and foremost. I think you look at a game, and for me, as a former player in the NBA, and of course have some FIBA experience, the physicality in the game, you can sit here and watch and like, man, it's a foul, but not in FIBA. FIBA, a lot of things you're able to get away with, and probably the first two games you sit and watch and you're calling the game, and the ability, or you're allowed to knock the ball off the rim, that takes them getting used to. So for NBA players, you can see the hesitation. They start to look at the ref like, wait. And now, 4 or 5 games in, Jason Tatum knocked the ball off the rim. JaVale McGee knocked the ball off the rim. Once you get accustomed to it, you kind of adapt. And this is what these players are able to do. They adapt. We have to remember this team, like all of the other teams, they only have 3 weeks, maybe a month to prepare and come together as a squad to take on teams like in Australia, who's been together forever, like Spain, who's been together forever, and expect to win. So, the task that these guys are dealt with, they've done a pretty darn good job. And you look at this team here, there's 3 guys that came from the finals. JaVale McGee came in late. Keldon Johnson came in late. Zach LaVine had to wait because of the COVID protocol. So they didn't have their entire team when they stepped foot into Japan, because everybody was all over the world, and finally get them back. They get their full team back 1:30 a.m. the night before the game against France.
Yeah.